Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the new screensavers is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. The new screensavers is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your house. Go to ring.com/NSS and get $50 off one of their Ring of Security kits, the Bundle Kit or the Pro Bundle Kit, with this limited time offer.
A smaller Segway setting up a makerspace, and you've got to catch them all with Pokémon Go. Live from the Twit Brick House in beautiful downtown Petaluma, it's the new Screensavers.
Was that Josh from Kennebunkport? Very nicely done.
Yeah,
very good.
Very good.
Hey, look at that. It's Aaron Newcomb. Hello,
Hey,
Aaron. Welcome.
Laporte.
Good to see you from the Benicia Makerspace.
Thanks for having me.
Episode 61 for July 9th, 2016. Hello, everybody. The new screensavers. So, we're going to talk actually about a maker. You've been here many times.
Yep.
We know you're with the Benicia Makerspace. You often bring stuff. But I think people want to know how you create a makerspace and all of that.
Right. There's a lot more people interested in it. It actually is a great resource for a community. If you love the town you live in.
Oh, what a resource.
It's a great resource.
Yeah.
It's like not having a library in your town. What do you do?
Nowadays, it's even more important to have a makerspace than a library.
Absolutely. I think so.
So we're going to talk about that. The Segway folks, you know, we're big fans of the original Segways. In fact, you see that at the show open. And Lisa and I have a couple in our home, but there's a new Segway in town.
Yeah.
Ninebot is here with something I think I might, you know, it's kind of it's somewhere between a hoverboard and a Segway, and it's a lot less expensive. So
and it's really cool looking.
Yeah, you've never
I've never done a Segway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this might be, you know, well, we'll see. I'm going to get on it. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then there's a one-wheeler thing that really looks dangerous, so that might be fun. And then we're also going to answer some call for help questions and so forth. Big stories of the week. It's interesting. These are kind of tied together. On Thursday, the president, almost tempted to say for life, of Russia, Vladimir Putin, he's starting to look more and more like one of those guys, president for life, signed a sweeping surveillance measure into law in Russia that in some ways is what I'm afraid will happen here. It compels telephone companies and internet providers to save and store private communications for 6 months, and that includes phone calls, text messages, and emails, all the metadata for 3 years. But the thing that really worries me is it effectively outlaws encryption within Russia. Entirely outlaws encryption. Edward Snowden said it's a dark day for Russia. You know, of course, he lives there in exile. Upon signing the package, Putin said to the Federal Security Service, the FSB, you have 2 weeks to acquire the means to decrypt all data sent across the internet. Which, if they can do that, will be very impressive indeed. As you know, I mean, there's WhatsApp. WhatsApp keeps getting in trouble in Brazil because the Brazilian government and courts keep saying to Facebook and WhatsApp, okay, we got a drug dealer. We want to know what he said on WhatsApp. And Facebook says, we can't tell you. It's got strong encryption. We can't tell you.
Right.
And they've put him in jail, Facebook executive in jail. They've shut down WhatsApp briefly because the people of Brazil rose up in protest. They've even confiscated Facebook funds. It doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want. And I think Putin's going to have the same problem. Encryption is done.
Right.
And now the second story that's related is that Facebook has announced that it's going to turn on the same kind of strong encryption on Facebook Messenger that they already have on WhatsApp. That's going to add, in effect, strong encryption capability to 1.5 billion people globally. It's going to make a huge difference. It is opt-in, so Apple's iMessage is automatic. Everything's encrypted.
Yep.
WhatsApp, I think, is automatic. Everything's encrypted.
I believe so.
Google's Allo, which isn't out yet but is coming out soon, will have opt-in encryption. And apparently that's what Facebook's doing with this.
Yep. And that's actually a big deal for companies like this to turn on encryption. Because you remember, when you send stuff over the wire, over the internet, it gets compressed. Just by default, right? The routers and everything out there, they
saves
compress
them a lot of data.
Save them a lot of data and save them money in the long run. When you encrypt, you scramble up all the data and you can't compress it. It's not uncompressible, but you hardly get any compression out of it.
Right.
So for a company like Facebook, Google, any of those people to say, you know what, we're going to turn on encryption by default, or encourage people to encrypt their communications.
I didn't think about that.
That's a huge
big
deal.
bandwidth hit
It's a huge bandwidth issue, but it's great for them to step up and say, you know what, we think this is so important, let's go ahead and do it. Because you know those conversations are happening behind the scenes. You know, the engineers are going, oh, you can't do that because we can't do it.
It's going to cost us.
It's going to cost us a lot of money. That's my engineer voice. But it's true. They've stepped up and said, no, we think our users want this, and we think it's important, and we're going to do it.
It also gets them off the hook a little bit because governments like Brazil and soon Russia will come to them and say, okay, what did he say? And they can legitimately say, we don't know.
We have no idea.
They're going to use Signal Protocol from Open Whisper Systems. Matthew Green, our favorite independent cryptographer at Johns Hopkins, apparently was brought in to audit it. He says it's good. So it's good, strong, open source encryption. Of course, it's in the Facebook Messenger, so it won't be open source. But the fact that that's available, I think, is fantastic. I think that's so significant. Yep. And it really is going to raise the stakes. You know, it's not just Russia. Dianne Feinstein proposed a similar law in the United States.
Yeah.
And very similar, saying, you know, it's everybody who sells encryption software, everybody who runs a store like Apple or Google has to make sure that there's a way that law enforcement can read those encrypted messages.
Back door.
And thank goodness that's apparently so far a non-starter in the U.S. Congress. But you know, they keep pushing it. They keep pushing it.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, for a long time, the U.S. has required, actually, if you sell something overseas, you have to relinquish the keys, the encryption keys, because it's part of national security. But then it's a whole other matter entirely to say, no, here in the United States, you actually have to do that as well.
Yeah.
You know, privacy versus security. I think this is just the beginning. We're going to see this probably for the next decade or two.
What's really happening, I think, is these corporate interests are saying preemptively, look, we're going to put this encryption in. It doesn't matter what law now that you pass. All you could do, and all Putin can do, is to ban Facebook, to ban WhatsApp, to ban Apple iPhones. And I think it's going to be politically difficult. Yep. Certainly in the United States, politically impossible.
Absolutely.
All right. It was a tough week. We should acknowledge that. Just a horrendous week with shootings of police officers and of unarmed African Americans. Just really sad. And I don't know about you, but I've been kind of glum. And I was really pleased on Wednesday when they released Pokémon Go, because this is a game that makes you get up off your butt, go out of the house, walk around, and more importantly, meet people. And you haven't tried it yet.
I haven't. My kids have, but I've been holding off.
Michael and I downloaded it on Wednesday. The servers were down, and I think they're down again because it's Saturday, and so probably a lot more people.
Everybody's trying.
In fact, it's only available in the U.S., Australia, and New Zealand, and they've already said they're not. Here's Gerry, our producer, doing it, so you can see how it works. They've already said they're not going to release it internationally. So what was amazing, though, is as I'm walking around town, I see people everywhere playing this game. Patrick Delahanty has a friend at Harvard who said the Harvard campus on Friday night was overrun by students playing the game. And it doesn't just get you out, it gets you meet people. See, he says, are you playing Pokemon Go? Yeah, you too? They're going up, this is Penry Park, which is just a block from here. And there's a lot of people there because somebody has put out a lure which attracts Pokemon. Now, it's an augmented reality game. So when you see the Pokemon, no, they're all playing. They're all playing. When you see the Pokemon, you tap it, and then you have to throw your Pokeball and catch it. That's what he's doing. That's why he's swiping up. It's a distinctive, yeah, he's serious. It's a distinctive look. And you see, it's augmented reality. The Pokemon is actually in your world, and you can take pictures, and now he's caught it. Let's see if it's going to get away. Nope, now he's adding it to his collection. And you're going to get points. It's a free game. It's a freemium game. There are ways to, you can spend money in it, although I found it to be really fun. At some point, ooh, look. You don't see a lot of Goldines around. Nice job, Gerry. The next thing you do is you see there are places of interest. And remember, this is from Niantic. The company used to be a Google company, started by the keyhole guys, right? They did
I was just going to say,
satellite
this
mapping.
looks a lot like Ingress.
And it is the same company that did Ingress.
Yeah.
It's more fun than Ingress because it's more cute. And what's, unfortunately, the servers are down, aren't they, Gerry? I don't think you can play right now. Look at the kids playing, grown-ups are playing, fathers and sons are playing, daughters and mothers are playing. It is, and the thing is, you talk to people. I met so many people wandering around, and I was saying, what team are you on? Because at some point, when you get to level 5, you have to choose red, green, or yellow. Just like in Ingress, you had to choose a faction.
Right.
And then, just like in Ingress, there are gyms. Now, I don't know if you remember the game Pokemon, the card game Pokemon.
Yeah.
Remember, you'd bring your Pokemon into the gym and you'd have Pokemon battles. There'd be card battles. Well, you do the same thing with the Pokemon that you've captured. The thing is, you capture a gym for your faction, red, yellow, or green, or blue. And then if you're in the other faction, you try to, just like Ingress, take it over, not by hacking, but by
having
fighting.
battles.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And you want to raise up your Pokemon, you want to make them stronger. You know, the game mechanics aren't the important part. What's fun is I walked 5 miles yesterday, and I was trying to catch Pokemon. And I love the augmented reality aspect of that, because you're actually seeing the Pokemon in your environment.
I have one on your Segway.
Is there one on my Segway? You got him?
Yeah, right.
Can you get him? Look, he's going to throw the Pokeball at him. It looks like a Pidgey. Oh, you missed.
Oh, you missed
Oh
him.
no, you got him. He got him. And now he's going to try to get out. Sometimes they get out. I think he got him. Nice job, Gerry. So he's going to add that to his Pokédex collection.
That's cool.
Now you have another one. iOS and Android, it instantly became the #1 free app on the Apple Store.
I went in, my son plays band. I went in the band room to sign a form or something for this next school year. And it was the day it came out. And they were, Pokemon Go's out, Pokemon Go is out. They were just all going crazy for it. They weren't thinking about band, unfortunately. They just wanted to go out and play. And then I saw a guy, teenager, walking around the street, and he's looking around at these houses. And
You
I thought,
could tell.
I thought he's casing the joint.
No, it looks
this
like
guy's
it.
gonna rob something.
But
And
he's
no,
not.
then I
He's
saw
looking
his
for
phone, and
Pokemon.
it hit me later. He's playing Pokemon Go.
I have a great idea for an invention. A little harness you put around the neck that holds the smartphone like that, so you can have both hands free. Because what you do is you end up wandering around. Now, they warn you when you play the game, don't lose sight of your surroundings, because I could see easily walking into the middle of the street chasing a Pokemon. And you don't look at those people are all playing it. There's a distinctive look.
Yes.
You can tell. But it isn't antisocial, because you do kind of say, oh, are you playing? Great. What's around here? If somebody sets a lure, you can team up. I mean, there's some fun things you can do.
That's cool.
I really enjoy this game. I think it's going to be the sensation of the summer. You're going to see this everywhere you go. So I would say, if you're driving around, be very careful. People look just like that.
Yes, right.
Because they have no idea of their surroundings or what they're doing. They're trying to catch a Pokemon.
It's too bad Google Glass is somewhat defunct. This would be a great app.
Be perfect for Glass.
Yeah.
I know.
Because then you wouldn't have to look down all the time.
Perfect.
You could be like just looking around. Where is it?
Already, this is a weird one. There's a Wyoming teenager, Shayla Wiggins. She was wandering around Riverton, Wyoming, playing it. Now, when you get near water, you can get a different kind of Pokemon. She was near the river. She climbed a fence to get to the river, found a dead body in the river. She discovered...
In an effort to get outside and find Pokemon.
That's not good.
So, well,
I guess it could be
somebody
good
was going to find it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's good she found it. It's probably a little upsetting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're going to see a slew of stories about Pokemon. I have to say, what has been a very tough week. It's kind of nice to have something not only fun, but something social, where you get out of your room and you start getting around town. And even in this tiny little town, everybody's playing it all over the place. It's
awesome.
really interesting.
That's awesome.
So we're going to try to do more coverage of Pokemon Go. I'm thinking this weekend Pokemon Go. Twipka.
There you go. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Twipko. Twipko. I think it'd be good.
I think so too.
It's a good show. Have you ever? You've never ridden a Segway?
I've never ridden a Segway.
All right. Let me fire up my Segway here. This is the original Segway, first made popular in 2001, I think, or 2002. It was Project Ginger. Remember, Dean Kamen?
Oh yeah, I remember. He went around
this.
and showed everybody.
And Bill Gates said it's going to change the way cities are built.
Yeah.
Steve Wozniak very famously became a big fan of these, and in fact, he brought them to the old screensavers. And this is the first time I ever rode one. He plays Segway polo. He actually has teams of polo players. He's got quite a few of them. It's pretty cool. It's electric. It will go up to 12.5 miles an hour.
Which is pretty fast, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a range of around, what does it have, Gerry? 20 miles, something like that? 25 miles. So we rode this to work. We can ride it to work. And once you use it a lot, you get very comfortable with it. It's very easy. You wouldn't, I don't think, have any trouble after about half an hour. It almost is natural. You lean forward, you go forward, you lean back, you go back. But the company has gone through some troubles.
Right.
The original company sold to a British investor who rode his Segway off a cliff. That didn't help.
No.
Okay, that didn't help. Bad PR. Then sold again to another investor who finally sold it to a company called Ninebot. And there's an interesting story there. Ninebot made Confederate counterfeit Segways. Segway fought them for years, keeping them out of the United States. But if you went to Amazon and search for Segway, you could find a less expensive Ninebot. Not exactly the same, but close enough that a lot of people bought the Ninebots. Ninebot owns Segway now. So let's take a walk, because we're going to go see the newest. No, I got it. I can do this all day. I'm very comfortable on the Segway. Because we're going to talk now with the folks from Ninebot about the latest Segway. So let me introduce you, Aaron. This is Gerry White.
Hey, Gerry.
Director of Sales, Segway.com. Gerry, you do like law enforcement.
That's my primary focus for Segway, is the law enforcement security market.
There's a lot of them, not just Paul Blart Mall Cop,
right?
But I see them at every airport.
Yes.
You see them. Are actually police officers using these as well?
Globally.
Interesting.
And of course we have, too large to bring it, but we have our big three-wheel law enforcement model that is going in airports everywhere.
Wow. I'm starting to see those around, and that's as much not because of a balancing issue, but as to have established a presence, right? Like you can see these guys.
As you talked earlier, with all the bad things going on in the world.
Yeah.
People want to see that uniform presence. They want to feel safe, whether they go to a mall or whether they go to an airport. They don't want to experience what's happened in
And no matter how crowded it is, you can move around very easily, very quickly.
Well, and it's a lot less messy than riding a horse.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, there's
I
no
really don't want to ride a horse in the airport.
No road apples to clean up, and no vet bills.
Right.
So it's a much better idea.
Now, you worked at Segway before Ninebot.
Yes, I'm still Segway. Segway still run, all of our Segway products still run independently, still manufactured in New Hampshire.
Okay.
But our parent company is Ninebot.
Okay. This is the new Ninebot, not Segway.
Well, it's the Ninebot Mini by Segway.
Okay.
So
and this is kind of a response to the hoverboard, right? Because the hoverboard's just...
To us, a hoverboard is a four-letter word. This is our response to a small personal transportation device.
Right.
A safe small transportation device.
Now, this Segway cost me $6,500. These are not cheap.
Yes.
How much is the Ninebot?
Well, it retails for $12.99.
It's a lot less expensive.
Right now on Amazon, it is $9.99.
Okay.
And coming up Amazon Prime Day, they're going to also include shipping as well.
A little more expensive than a hoverboard, but not so much more that you might turn your back on it. But is this going to blow up?
That's the big question, right?
As we all saw, there was 500,000 hoverboards.
Yeah. We have one at home. We won't let Michael plug it in.
Nothing from Segway or Ninebot has been part of any recall. Ours was the first vehicle legal in the United States under the new UL 2272 safety requirements. That you can leave it plugged in. It's got a smart charger. It'll turn itself off during charge and discharge. It won't ignite.
See, that's what I want to hear. Underwriter Labs approved.
Yes. And that's
none of the hoverboards
new federal standards, UL 2272, to import in the United States must meet that standard.
Okay.
Ours meet that standard.
Okay, so no fear of that. No. And you know, well-designed electronics have never. We all have lithium-ion batteries in our phones, in our laptops. They don't blow up because they have circuitry to prevent overcharging.
Yep.
But those cheap Chinese knockoff hoverboards did not.
Yep.
Well, since this is a tech show, the difference is ours has BMS, or battery management system, on the cell level, that it can measure a cell that's too far charged and one that's not charged enough.
Right.
The hoverboards don't have that.
Yeah.
So ours will balance and equalize the charge. Therefore, you don't have an overheated battery, and lithium batteries can be very volatile.
So the original Segways, we had these little keys.
Yes.
They looked like little pocket watches, and this is how I would turn it on. This is the lock. If I put this in my pocket, you can't drive off with my Segway. It tells you battery, speed, and stuff. But you know, we've come a long way since 2001. How do I control the Ninebot?
Well, first of all, when you buy a Ninebot, you have to have a smartphone, because you have to download the app. you have to download a tutorial, and it goes through a tutorial for you to learn how to operate
By
it.
the way, I love this. So it won't go full speed until you've learned.
No, you must learn how before it releases you into the world.
I think that's,
that's
really
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've just turned on my smartphone, and we'll
Okay.
connect. We'll connect with.
Is it Bluetooth?
It's Bluetooth.
Okay.
It's all Bluetooth enabled. So we now have have
show
our
the
app.
camera over
we
your
now have
left
our
shoulder
app
there.
active.
Okay.
If the vehicle is operational, it will show me speed. It'll show me what the vehicle is doing. One of
Can
the
you
great
control
features-
the vehicle remotely?
Well, this is for the geek in all of us. We can go right here, and I can go and I can control it.
You can pilot it.
I can pilot
That's
it as a
cool.
little autonomous.
I love that. Actually, we saw at CES a robot related to this, right?
Well, the robot, we're partnered with Intel. It will be out hopefully by the end of the year. It's the same platform at the bottom, but it has, instead of the lean steer,
Yeah.
it has the autonomous robot. So if you have one of these, when the new one comes out, you can buy just the robotic version
nice.
and plug it into place.
And it can bring me
so
drinks
awesome. This would be so great for building a R2.
Yeah, you
D2,
can put
a
an
full-size
R2 in there.
R2D2, and you could use
So
this
do you
as
want
the
to try it
wheels.
or shall I? I have experience with
you
the Segway.
better
Maybe
go
I
ahead.
better do
You
it.
better do it.
Shall we show the folks the rest of the neat things on the
Yeah,
app?
please do, yeah.
We've got things we can control. I can go to the light settings, and I can control.
Look at these lights in the back.
I can pick any color or any combination of
So
colors
pretty.
for the turn signals, brake lights,
Love
things of
that.
that sort.
By the way, I love brake lights.
The app,
Yeah,
we can
absolutely.
adjust the speed control. If you have a small child, you don't want them going as fast, we can control the speed, sensitivity of the
How
unit.
fast will this go?
It'll go 10 miles an hour and
Okay.
up to 15 miles on a charge.
So it's a little less than the big Segway, but not much.
And when we talk about lithium, we can look at any time and see the temperature of the batteries, the condition of the batteries. There's a full display that.
I mean, I think that's awesome that you guys have done all this work, because these are features that you typically see in high-end electric cars like the Leaf or the
Right,
Tesla.
right,
and now you can have that actually for this. Is it heavy, by the way?
It's not that
It
bad.
weighs 22 pounds.
Can I pick it up?
Yes.
Yeah.
See if it's good.
Yeah, 22 pounds, not bad.
Oh,
That's a
oh,
lot
no,
less.
just
You
kidding.
wouldn't
It's
want to
not that
pick up
bad.
one of these the Segways. All right, I'm
Did
going
it
to
know
try
that I
it.
picked it up?
Okay.
It
It knows
beeped.
you picked up. Did you know?
Yeah, it
if you
beeped
pick it
that.
up, it's
It-
not
it
going to work.
turns off.
The nice part, let's say you're.
So you're not going to catch a lot of air.
Let's
with
say
this.
here you're going on BART. I don't have to pick it up. I can take and lift this up, and I can walk
can
it onto
walk
the
it
train.
in.
I
That's
can walk
great.
it someplace.
It's much more compact than
Yeah,
the original Segway.
definitely.
I also notice it's self-balancing.
Well, it's turned on right now, and it'll self-balance itself
So it just stands there
until I
like
turn
that.
it off, and then it'll lay down.
Okay.
So
I wish ours did that. I
Yeah.
thought that was a nice feature. They used to do that.
we
All right,
gave
so
you a
now how
little
do
tutorial before.
Yeah, show me how to do this.
Well, first of all, I'll show you real quickly.
Okay.
I'm just going to step on one platform, and I'm going to step straight up in the air.
Okay.
Once I'm on the vehicle,
and you're steering with your thighs.
I'm steering
or
with
your
my knees. And that's adjustable for the height of the rider.
Okay, so you want to have that at your knees.
Yes.
All right. We're about
So
the
just
same
put
height.
one
so
foot
just
on
as
and
if
step
I'm getting on
straight
a,
up in the air.
Just
step
straight
straight
up.
up.
Don't lean.
Don't lean. There
Whoa.
you go. Now you adjust
Okay.
your little foot,
Okay.
just like a pro.
So this is easy. And now if I lean a little bit backwards, I'm going backwards. I can, and I'd steer by, this is not so hard. Look at that.
And people behind you will notice if you turn left or right, you actually have turn signals left and right. If you put the brakes, if you stop or lean back, you have brake lights that come
That's
on.
actually a really good idea.
Yeah, that is.
This
That's
is not,
cool.
this is surprisingly, I would like to have the thing that I hold. I mean, I know it doesn't do anything on the,
Well, it's a feeling of security.
it's a feeling of security.
Pretend
yeah.
you have an invisible one. So
Yeah,
if you're
okay.
riding, you're just steering with your knees.
This is pretty cool.
Now,
I'm not sure I'd want to go full speed. I guess once you get used to it.
Now-
Just like a regular Segway. It only takes about half an hour on a regular Segway, and you feel like, I can use this.
Well, I love the fact that you have a training mode, basically. Because,
That's a great
now
idea.
I mean,
also,
that's,
if you hold that,
Yeah?
that's going to show you direction of travel. It's going to show you how much distance left, and that will actually show you speed. So,
Oh.
of course, you probably want to pay attention to what you're doing, but
Or I could play Pokemon Go.
yes.
This would be the ideal Pokemon.
Now, this would be the speed version of Pokemon Go. Just
Yeah.
think how quickly you can capture
Yeah,
the Pokemon.
I can move around a lot. This is awesome. $9.99 right now on Amazon, $12.99 list.
And
Is
Amazon
there
Prime
avail-
Amazon Prime is coming up on the 12th.
Oh, good. So you
Prime
get
Day.
second day delivery. And is it in stock, or are you getting?
Yes, absolutely.
It feels much safer than a hoverboard. We have a hoverboard. That you steer with your toes. or
Well, with your
feet.
heels.
Yeah.
You have hard rubber tires on hoverboard. This has pneumatic tires, so you can go over bumps and hit objects, and it's not going to
Nice.
throw you
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, because that was the.
feeling
that,
pretty comfortable, I have
Besides
to
all the
say.
battery stuff,
It's
right?
a little
I mean,
strange. I mean, whoa. And that's another thing that I like over the Segway. If you do that on a Segway, you're going to get some strange experiences. But this, it just stayed there.
Yes.
I just hopped off. Wow, that is cool. Now, what is that? Here, I'll give you your phone.
This is the Ninebot 1E Plus.
It looks like a Roomba. Can I ride this around?
Well, here's the thing. The older we get, the longer the learning curve.
Yeah.
This is for the millennials.
Do we have any millennials?
That's why I don't ride it.
Oh, yeah, this looks dangerous.
The learning curve on this is longer because the balance leans forward and back for the speed of the vehicle, but until you get speed going, centrifugal force is what keeps it upright.
Okay.
But once you're good at it, this will do 13 miles an hour, and it's a lot of fun.
It's like learning to ride a unicycle.
Yeah, that's
we've got a brand ambassador for us. It's a world-class BMX rider. We turn him loose with one of these. He sends video back at the end of the day. He's jumping up in the air, spinning around.
Is this him? He's crazy. He's nuts.
That's one of the guys. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
What?
But they're young and they're dumb and yeah. What are the laws regarding? Let's talk about the Ninebot, riding that around.
Well, here's the good part. All the Segway products are not considered a vehicle. They're considered a personal mobility device. They're all completely,
not even a bicycle.
No. In fact, in California, there's a law specific to Segway.
Yeah.
Two-wheel balancing. So it doesn't fall into those classifications. It doesn't require licensing. Doesn't require.
Do I ride on the street or the sidewalk?
You can ride wherever you want, but if there's a sidewalk, I'd ride on it because several thousand.
It's not illegal to ride it on the sidewalk.
No, it is not. Okay. Just like Segway is not illegal to ride on the sidewalk.
Right.
Some cities have municipal codes to.
Yeah, it varies. I know that.
Yeah.
For instance, we called because I wanted to ride our Segways over the Golden Gate Bridge. They said, only if you're in a tour group. You can't do it as an individual on the Golden Gate Bridge. And that's because there's so much foot traffic there. They don't want somebody to run into people and roll
We
over
found
their toes.
throughout the U.S. especially, places where there are tours that the tour operators are responsible, there's no problems.
Yeah.
Some places where you've had tour operators, people run into, then
San Francisco has
rules
plenty of Segway tours.
Yes, they do.
All over the place.
And Lisa and I, because we love our Segways, we've noted all around the world. There are places you can rent a Segway, and you can. It's actually a great way to see a city.
I was in Prague last year, and there was, I think, 3 or 4 different tour operators that were running Segway tours.
Especially an old city like Prague, where on foot is the best way to see it.
Yep.
But that's a lot of walking, and it's a perfect compromise.
One of the best tours, take the nighttime tour of Washington, D.C. The monuments at night in the summer is a whole lot different than it is
Let's do it, Lisa.
daytime.
That sounds like that'd be a lot of fun.
Because you're riding down the bike lane in
that'd be really fun.
Pennsylvania Avenue,
Look at this.
and the lights on the monuments in the summertime with the good weather. It's a great
There's
tour.
Anthony
people to bump
Nielsen, our
into,
editor, doing that. He's good. One of our producers and editors.
Whoa.
Hey, Anthony's good.
Anthony.
He's a little crazy, though. He's a crazy man. And Alex, you were doing a great job. Wait a minute, Lisa, you didn't tell me you tried it.
Of course.
What do you think?
I like my handlebars.
I like my handlebars, too. Yeah.
That was the very first time she jumped on, and then she wanted to play airplane. She had her arms out there to get
It's weird because you don't need to use your hands for anything in particular. So, that's cool. So, there you go. Ninebot, obviously a good steward of the Segway brand. I'm happy to see that.
Yes, it's a very good partnership.
And you're going to continue to make the traditional Segways as well.
Our two, the Segway PT, both the big-wheeled one, the XT, the X2, and this one, as well as our 3-wheel law enforcement vehicles, are all made in Bedford, New Hampshire.
Same place as always.
Same place as always.
Yep.
Same factory. Same place Dean built.
Yep. I have to say, while it is pricey, I love getting around. We can go into town. We can go ride around. The other day, Lisa and her son went to pick blackberries on the Segways.
Nice.
It was great.
Nice.
And we have a nice blackberry pie as a result.
Love that.
Shouldn't be eating blackberry pie, but they're very nice. The Ninebot 1E Plus, that's the one wheel. You got to be a young person to try that.
Yes.
The Ninebot, this is called the Ninebot Mini Pro?
By Segway. Yes.
By Segway. The Segway Mini Pro. And this is available now
on Amazon.
On Amazon, but you might want to wait a few days because Amazon Prime is coming.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
And it's available 2 colors, black or white.
Oh.
So I brought the black one, but there's 2 colors.
And how much would the robotic attachment cost?
We're not sure.
Okay.
It's going to be quite reasonable for an autonomous robot, but the nice part is instead of waiting until that comes out, when it comes out, for convenience and for storage also.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Look at
this comes off. So when that robot comes out, that's just going to plug into place.
That's one of the cool things about this is you can throw this in the back of your car easy.
And one other thing,
small.
for the height of the person
Adjust that.
This is adjustable for riding with your
I have to say I felt very secure on that. I mean, I've ridden the Segway for a lot, but I felt very secure on that. It was a lot of fun. And there's the robot. What kind of capabilities will the robot have besides blinking?
Well, the robot, it's got a series of cameras that allow it to map a house.
Wow.
It'll follow you around. It does recognition, not GPS recognition, but it'll do recognition of you, and you can have it follow you around.
No hands, though, right? It can't give you anything or pick up.
Well, no, there is an attachment.
They're going to be
also.
hands
Oh,
too?
yes.
Really?
Ah.
Wow.
So it's.
I could send it to the store for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go
Look
get
and there's the camera.
Can of green beans out of the pantry.
Bring me a beer, Dinebot.
As it was so impressive. CES last year in Vegas, we finished in the top 3 out of 10,000 new products.
Yeah, it was a big
robotic
story.
version.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gerry White, Director of Sales at Segway.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for letting us show
Really
us the new
excited.
products.
Nice to meet you, Gerry. It's
I've been
cool.
excited. We knew this was coming, and I couldn't wait. I really wanted to try riding it. It looks like everybody got a chance to, too.
Yes.
All right, coming up in just a bit, Megan Morrone is going to help you set up your Amazon Echo flash briefing. We're going to talk about NAS servers.
Yeah.
And you're going to help us set up our very own makerspace.
That's right.
here
We'll
in
get you
Newcomb.
started.
First, though, I want to talk a little bit about my doorbell, my Ring video doorbell. Love the Ring. You will, too. Where's my camera? There I am. You will love the Ring as well because it is kind of like caller ID for your house. We very easily replaced our existing ding-dong doorbell. I just unscrewed it. There were 2 wires, put the Ring video doorbell on there, and now I've got an HD camera, I've got a speaker, and I've got a microphone. Any motion in front of my house, I can see it. I can get an alert on my phone. Somebody rings my doorbell. Not only do I hear it in the house, but I can also hear it here or halfway around the world because it ties into your internet. And suddenly your doorbell rings wherever you are, and you can even speak to somebody. And I really like that. Our UPS driver, just a couple of weeks ago, they told us we're not going to leave any packages at the UPS anymore because people were stealing packages from the front doorstep. And now we have to go. Where do we have to go? We have to go to the UPS store to pick up our package. So now I just say, when the UPS guy comes, hey, I'm in the shower. Just leave it there under the bush. And I don't have to miss my deliveries. Plus, I can keep an eye on that package the whole time. And if anything should go wrong, I got crystal clear video. For a small fee, you can have offline recording in the cloud, so you always know what's going on. They now have a special Video Doorbell Pro. If you have a wired doorbell, the original one had a big battery in it, so you didn't have to have it wired. But they now have the Video Doorbell Pro, which doesn't have the battery, so it's for wired doorbells only. It has a 1080p camera now, not just a 720p. It's incredible. We've got a kind of bundle kit we're going to put together here for you. They call it the Ring of Security Kit. Doesn't just include the Ring video doorbell. You also get what they call the stick-up cam. It's a camera you can put anywhere. It has the camera and the speaker and the microphone, just like the Ring video doorbell. But while the Ring's covering your front, the stick-up cam can cover your back, and you also get a solar panel, so you don't even have to give it power. It is awesome. You'll also get the chime, which you could plug into any outlet in your house, and that'll ring when somebody presses the doorbell. So you can have multiple chimes around your house. The Ring of Security Bundle Kit, or if you want the Pro Bundle Kit, we're going to give you $50 off if you go to ring.com/NSS. That's the lowest price anywhere. And it's a limited time, so don't put it off here. This would be a great gift for family members, elders in your family, your folks. Go to ring.com/NSS. It's easy to install, and it really, really works. I love it. Ring.com/NSS to save $50. We got a call for help coming up. We're going to talk NAS upgrades, but first here's Megan Morrone on how to customize your Amazon Echo's flash briefings.
The Amazon Echo and its pint-sized cousin, the Echo Dot, can do more than give you the weather and tell you a dumb joke.
How did the telephone propose to his girlfriend? He gave her a ring.
She is also smart, and she can give you the news. But if you enable this skill, you need to promise not to replace her with me, okay? Okay. Here are 5 things you need to know about how to get the latest news from your Amazon Echo. 1, you can either say, play my flash briefing, or you can say, what's new?
Here's your flash briefing.
Number 2, to customize your flash briefing, open the app, go to settings, scroll down and tap Flash Briefing, then choose what you want to hear. To navigate through your flash briefing, you can just say next, previous, or cancel. Play my flash briefing.
Here's your flash briefing. In NPR News from TuneIn.
administration is offering a public. How many civilians?
Next.
In weather. In Petaluma, it's 77 degrees with clear skies and...
Previous.
In NPR News from TuneIn.
Number 4. To stop your flash briefing, say stop or cancel.
Live from NPR News in Washington. Saying
Stop. Number 5. To come back later and start your flash briefing where you left off, just say start. Start.
the Obama administration is offering a public. How many civilians?
Stop. Are we friends?
Yes.
I'm Megan Morrone, host of iOS Today, where Leo and I cover the latest in iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and Apple TV. And I host Tech News Today, where Jason Howell and I deliver the technology news that will entertain and inform you every Monday through Friday.
Thank you, Megan. Actually, Megan's on the vacation next week, so it'll be Jason Snell and me on Monday for iOS Today. In case you watched that and wondered what the hell was going on,
That's what I was wondering. Is she swearing? What is she doing?
those sound effects are to cover up the trigger word.
Yes.
Because what we found is so many of you have Amazon Echoes that every time she says the, A word that triggers it, people have been complaining that we're triggering their Echoes at their house. So we've just been blooping them out, and that's why those strange sound effects, if you're listening at home, you're probably very puzzled. That's why the strange sound effects, that's covering up the A word.
Yes.
So that you don't get triggered. Now, let us get a call for help. And I think we're going to go to Kentucky today. Scott is on the line. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Leo.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
You're a Kentucky fan, aren't you?
No, absolutely not. I'm a USA soccer fan.
Oh,
right
okay.
There.
Okay.
So I'm a soccer fan. And
is that Manchester United, that scarf?
No, that's USA.
USA. USA.
And the other one in the back is USA Mexico World Cup qualifiers. So the last couple ones have been in Columbus.
Oh, cool.
2-0. We beat them 2-0. So
very fun. So give me your best goal. Let me hear what happens when they kick it into the net there.
It's usually something like, in my house, my daughter and I go, when they score, USA, 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 USA. And then we hold those scarves up real high. So,
the number one sport in the world, soccer, right?
Football.
And following soccer in Kentucky used to be very hard. And following technology in Kentucky used to be very hard. But then I found you on Tech TV.
That's right.
And then, so you've increased my technical literacy immensely.
Thank you, Scott.
So I want to thank you for so many years of keep me up to date technology wise. But the problem is that I started watching all the other shows too, like Home Theater Geeks with Scott Wilkinson, and he inspired me to build this home theater that I'm sitting in right now. And then over time, I decided I need to get all my movies so I don't have to get up off the couch and stick the Blu-ray in the drive, because that would be that's old. And I want to be able to store them all centrally. So I got a Synology NAS and stuff.
Oh, good choice. You probably listen to Dr. Robert. Father Robert loves his Synologies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then so I had the 2-bay Synology NAS with 2 3-terabyte drives kind of mirroring each other. And I started backing up making MKV files of my backups of my Blu-rays. And at 20 to 40 gig, I started running out of space.
Is that how big they are? Wow.
Yeah.
20 to 40 gig, full rips. And then I also want to have the...
You get all the menus and the extras.
Right, all the extras.
Yeah, so it worked. Everything works really well, but I'm starting to run out of space, and I have more Blu-rays to rip, and no space on my NAS to store them.
How much storage do you have now?
I have 2 3-terabyte Western Digital Reds, and they're mirroring each other, so I have 3 terabyte total space. Because if a drive failure, I would hate to lose all the movies I've ripped.
You're doing RAID 1, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, if you get 3 or more drives, you can do RAID 5, which gives you kind of the best of both worlds. You get expanded capacity. More, right now you're only getting half the total. You'll get a little bit more, like 2/3 the total, plus the redundancy.
Yep.
And in many cases, hot swappable. I don't know if the Synologies are hot swappable, but in many cases. So Synology makes 5 bays. I think they make 8 bay. I think, it just gets more expensive, not just for the enclosure, but it also gets more expensive for the drives. You got to buy drives for all of those. But those Synologies are great if you like them.
I like it, but it has lots of features I just don't use. Right. I'm just using my Mac Mini as the Plex server, So
you just want a massive storage unit. You don't
big dumb
need
storage box that's protected, reliable. You don't have to worry about it.
What should he do?
Exactly.
There's a couple good options, right? So for me, a little bit more technical, I built my own. So I've got a server running. It's my media server. I think I've got 4 or 5 drives in there, 5 drives, I guess, for redundancy. And then I run ZFS on top of that. So, I can always, if I lose a drive, I can replace it really easily. I don't have to worry about any corruption or problems with it. It looks for that and fixes it automatically. So that's what I do because I'm able to do that. I just set the server, under my desk, in the back of my desk, sits there all day long, and then all my other media devices point to that. So I run Kodi, for example. It just points to that and streams all my movies and stuff. If I want to stream something to my phone, same thing. I just pull it up, attach to it, and it's good to go.
So it's just a big dumb disk.
A big dumb server, basically, that's running ZFS. And the nice thing is about that, you can do it on Linux, or better yet, you could do it on FreeBSD. There's even FreeBSD distributions that are built exactly for this purpose.
FreeNAS.
FreeNAS is the one that most people use. So it makes it really easy to manage. You don't have to worry so much about jumping on the command line and figuring out how it works or what to do.
ZFS? Is that a better file system to use for this?
So, ironically, I think one of the first times I was actually on any of your shows, we were talking about ZFS because I worked for Sun Microsystems at the time.
Which created ZFS as part of Solaris.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So ZFS, one thing it does really well is it handles corruption, redundancy, all that stuff is taken care of for you.
It's a modern file system.
It's a modern file system that makes use of extra memory that you may have in your system. So if you got a box with a lot of memory, ZFS is going to use that for caching purposes. So it's a little smarter than your average file system and your average box that you would have sitting in the corner. And it really, anything that you can think of. So for example, setting up a NAS device. If you have FreeNAS, you don't have to worry about this. If you're more on the command line, you can just type, mount this file system and share it on NAS in one command, and it just does it. And then you can access it over whatever protocol you desire, NFS or CIFS or whatever.
How geeky are you, Scott?
I think there's the time to benefit ratio. Yeah. So I have 2 young children and got a pretty busy job and social life. So I don't know if building my own is necessarily something I would have the time to do right now. But I'm just looking for something that will be kind of cost effective and I can grow with a little bit. And I think those are the 2 main things. And also, can my wife fix it if I'm gone and something happens?
FreeNAS is an awesome solution, but it is really kind of a geek solution. And you could see the benefits of ZFS and all of that. But, you're basically taking a beige box, so it's not necessarily even going to save you money. Depends if you've got something lying around. You still have to buy the hard drives. Here's one of the big Synologies. This is, 8 drive, the disk station DS1815. You put that in RAID 5, you're going to have a lot of storage. You're probably never going to run out. But that's expensive, and so one of the solutions, and I should mention these guys are a sponsor. But I noticed that they mentioned you asked about this. This is the Drobo. A lot of people use this. This is kind of a consumer-grade NAS, right? Probably not what I would recommend if you wanted all of the features of DiskStation, the Synology software, or even more so FreeNAS. But boy, talk about simple. This is their 5. I'll show you. I'll just take off the front. Their 5 drive unit.
There we go.
You don't have to fill all 5 drives, by the way. You need a minimum of 3 to do RAID 5. Actually, they don't do RAID 5. They do Drobo's own proprietary RAID. It's very similar. One of the advantages, though, is it's hot swappable. So and you'll see on the front panel, it's not plugged in right now, but colors, it'll let you know when you're running low. This is the 5D, and see the 5 lights there? It's green. That means all 5 drives have plenty of capacity. As it gets low, you can see which drive's getting full, and you can take it out, put in a bigger drive. It'll rebuild on the fly without any downtime. So there are some real advantages to that. This is Ethernet connected. That's all it's got in the back. It doesn't have iSCSI or anything like that. So, it's based on your network. I'm sure it is at least gigabit, if not faster. But fast enough to watch a DVD or Blu-ray DVD movie off of it. And you'd probably never run out of capacity here, because what's happening is drive makers are getting bigger and bigger. What's the biggest right now, 4 or 5 terabytes?
I think you can even go bigger. I know.
Can you really?
Yeah,
wow.
I think you can go, well, I know in the corporate world, we can go all the way up to 16 terabyte drives now.
Wow. So that's one of the advantages. No, that's going to be very pricey, but that's one of the advantages is these can be heterogeneous. So typically in a RAID server, it's the size of the RAID is going to be, based on the smallest drive you put in there. Right. And all of them will look to be that same size. This, it doesn't matter. So you can add capacity, and when bigger drives come along, you just swap out the smallest drive for the next biggest one up.
And to me, as somebody that works in the storage industry, when Drobo first came out, that was the biggest thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That was like against all the rules of storage. You always use the same size disk across your array, and they're saying, no, just put in whatever you want, and it actually works. So for a simple solution, this is actually a really nice one, because you could even take advantage of maybe some old drives you have laying around.
Well, I do. In fact, you'll see the 3 drives in here, just some old WD drives.
Right.
So the drives you have already, you just put them in. And it's literally this easy to put them in. You just slide it in, and you can even do this while it's running. You don't do it like that, but you get the idea. So again, a disclaimer: this company is a sponsor of some of our shows. In fact, I think they sent us this 5D for future advertising. That's why I have it lying around. But they're a great company. They've done great stuff. I think the prices are fair. It isn't it's not even the software is not even as sophisticated, in my opinion, as Synology. But boy, for what you get, it's awesome. It's really awesome.
I never used the Synology software.
Well, as you said.
I barely use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as long as I can get that past finance committee, that sounds like a pretty good solution right there.
If your wife lets you. I really like this.
And if using one of your offer codes, save me some money, because I slept last night on my Casper.
Oh, nice. All right, well then you must buy a Drobo, because you can only buy stuff we advertise.
That's right.
That's the rule now, from now on. No, this is are we going to have do we have a TWIT offer code for this? Do you know? Okay, if you go to twit.tv and click on sponsors, you'll find the offer code for that. It's probably TWIT, but I'm not sure. You should probably check. There you go. Awesome. See, those are all the sponsors, including Casper.
I can just take my existing drives. I can just take those out of the
That's the beauty of it. Now, remember, you're not going to see the data on them. You're going to have to rebuild it using their own special technology.
Yep, it's going to delete all the data, so...
Yeah. You don't get to take that with you.
You might want to set up a little bit, move the files over.
That's a good idea.
And then use those old drives.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember what the minimum is on here. I think you have to start with 3, even though it has 5 slots.
Right. Well, he's got 2 drives, so if he gets 3 new drives...
Oh, there you go.
Puts those in, moves
copies
all the files
over, and then add the other 2.
And then add the other 2 when you're sure everything's working.
You're going to have so much data space you're never going to have to worry again.
Yeah.
Hey, it's really nice.
I got a lot of Disney Blu-rays to back up.
Yeah, the kids outgrow those at some point. So, how old are your kids?
I have a 9-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl.
Oh, well, the 5-year-old just needs Frozen over and over and over and over and over.
She asked for Star Wars, and she asked for. It's all right.
You're raising a good geek child.
Yes, and my son actually just got done his summer enrichment program, was a podcasting class.
Awesome!
Wow,
that's great.
So yeah, he made his first podcast for the summer enrichment program.
What town? What town in Kentucky are you in?
Fort Thomas, Kentucky.
Fort Thomas.
Fort Thomas. I used to live in Cincinnati.
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh!
Just over the river.
Literally, Anderson Township. You're 15 minutes from where I used to live.
Yeah, that's super close. Yeah, you were East Sider.
Yeah, that's right.
I stole my wife from the west side of Cincinnati. That, if you can believe it or not, she moved from the west side over to Kentucky.
Well, go eat a few cheese conies for me, because I miss those.
Oh, what's a cheese coney?
Cheese coney.
Coney.
Never had a cheese
Coney Island hot dog?
Yeah, basically.
Cheese dog.
But in Cincinnati, it's...
Oh, it's got Cincy chili on it?
Oh, yeah.
They put cinnamon in that stuff. That's not chili.
Cinnamon, chocolate. It's good stuff.
Take a chocolate bar and you put a chocolate bar in it.
Yeah. We make it at home now, because we have to ship it in from Cincinnati.
Why you didn't bring any?
I'll bring some next time.
Bring some cheese conies
I'll bring some next time. We'll have cheese conies in 3 ways. Or 4 ways or 5 ways.
That sounds weird. Thank you, Scott.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Great to see you.
All right. It's great to see you. Thank you for the kind words. That's nice. There you go.
Yeah.
Father Robert will be here next week, and I'm sure he'll tell you all the great things about it. He loves Synology.
Yeah.
He's a huge Synology fan. So we'll ask him about that. If you have a question, enterprise question, Synology question, maker question, drone question, the Drone Father will be here next week. Here's how you ask.
Need tech help? The new screensavers are here with answers. Email your tech questions to newscreensavers@twit.tv.
Now we're going to go ask Aaron how you set your own makerspace up. He's got real-world experience setting up the Benicia makerspace. But before we do that, speaking of drones, you know, a lot of photographers use drones. Frederick Van Johnson, he was here last week. He's a huge drone user. He wants to let you in on what the new FAA regulations mean for people flying drones. Watch.
Hey guys, I'm Frederick Van Johnson from thisweekinphoto.com. Check it out. The FAA just announced their rules governing UAV or UAS flight, and that means drones. So you should check it out. Head over to their website. They've got an exhaustive list of all the different regulations. None of them are scary. They're all pretty much common sense, which is really good. A lot of us were afraid that they were going to come down hard and over-regulate the drone industry, but they didn't do that. And some of the top line rules that they put in there are just common sense stuff. Like number one, 400 feet. You can't go above 400 feet for obvious reasons. You don't want to be, you know, into aircraft territory or commercial aircraft or even private aircraft territory. And 400 feet is really, really high. You shouldn't need to go any higher than that. Secondly, line of sight. The aircraft must remain within your line of sight at all times. You need to be able to see it. You can fly your drone at night if it has nighttime running lights on it. Like, for example, most of the Phantoms, or if not all the Phantom series from DJI, they have lights that blink at night so that you can see where the aircraft is. In order to fly at night, got to have lights. The third thing is that a lot of people were waiting on is what's needed for commercial use. If you want to fly your drone, take photos of weddings and, you know, whatever, and actually charge for it, up until this release, this news, it was pretty much illegal, or at least, you know, kind of right on the edge of the law. Now they've made it, you know, pretty clear. It's legal. So head over to the FAA site. There's a list of things that you need to do. Essentially, let's take a test. You take a little simple test, almost like a driving test, which is pretty common sense, and that's it. You're done. A couple of the last things that I wanted to highlight in terms of the rules around the UAS or drone usage. Again, common sense. Don't fly your drone over humans. You can fly your drone over humans if you have the permission of those humans. But, you know, it may seem like, hey, my kid's playing in this football game in his high school. I want to fly my drone over the field and get some awesome footage. You can't do that. Don't do it. Unless you have permission of all the players and all the people in the audience, you can't do that. So don't do that. Also, common sense things like don't fly your drone over livestock or anything living, you know, any kind of mammal. Just kind of avoid mammals and you should be good to go. All right, so that's it. Just some common sense top line guidelines from the FAA to govern drone usage. Like I said, they're all basically common sense, but head over to the FAA website to read the exhaustive list and make sure you adhere to all of their guidelines. You don't want to be the person that they make an example out of. I'm Frederick Van Johnson. You can check me out at thisweekinphoto.com.
I don't know. There goes my whole dream. I was going to do 4K cow footage. And I can't fly over cattle. What can I say?
Maybe cows are scared of drones. Start a stampede. Actually, that would be good for cows.
Maybe that's
if
what
you
it
were
is.
a rancher.
You could herd them with drones.
I guess you can't, though.
Not allowed anymore.
Look at that. Look
at that.
Cow footage.
Breaking the law right there. You're breaking the law.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
Well, now, if the cow isn't, if you're not right over it, is that okay?
Run.
If you're like just behind it, is that okay? I tell you. All right, we're going to talk about maker. First of all, what is a makerspace?
All right, so a makerspace, also known as a hackerspace. There's lots of other names for it too.
Or a dojo. I've seen Hacker
Dojo down in Santa Clara. It's basically a place where people come make things, but it's also a great place for people to get together, use tools, sometimes free of charge, sometimes not. Here's our website here for Benicia Makerspace.
So you're basically getting two things. You're getting three things. You're getting a clubhouse.
Yep, basically.
You're getting instruction. And you're getting access to tools that you couldn't afford to have at home.
Yeah, a lot of the tools that we have in the makerspace are, you know, like big lathes, big CNC machines, hydraulic presses, which are really popular now apparently on YouTube. But you can't get access to those things. You can't even rent those things usually for the amount of money that it takes to buy a month's membership, certainly at our makerspace.
So the first thing that now comes to mind is the liability issue. I mean, these are scary tools. People could hurt themselves badly.
Right, and you do have to cover yourself for that.
So you get liability insurance?
Liability insurance. insurance, big time. Also, everybody, even though everyone says it doesn't hold up in a court of law, we do make everyone sign
a waiver.
A very detailed legal waiver, as well as agreements on how they will and won't use the tools.
Okay.
So that's part of the
That's a good idea, even if it's not legal.
Right.
It kind of focuses them.
It gets the mindset
risks.
of, hey, this could be dangerous. I need to maybe take a second thought about doing something on these machines before I actually,
Are you a nonprofit?
dangle my tie over the lathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you probably have to have 24, supervision for every hour that you're open.
You don't really. So the way we handle that is that like I said, every makerspace is different. What we do, though, is we say, as part of your membership agreement, you can't use any tools you don't know how to use.
Okay.
And if you want to know how to use a tool, there's a mailing list. You just put a question out there. Can someone show me how to use the lathe?
I need a mentor.
I need a mentor, somebody to come in and help me out.
Right.
And we also offer beginner classes, which also accomplish the same task. So we offer beginner classes in welding, metal shop, wood shop, 3D printing, CAD CAM design, things like that, to get people started.
If somebody wants to do this, is there like a template? Look there's a twit, you're making the twit logo.
Oh yeah, actually that's one of the things I brought in. So that's our,
you're burning
our little laser etcher, and I actually
neat.
brought that with me. We were just doing that yesterday.
Cool.
Anthony
That's
came
really
out and took
cool.
some video of it.
So should people be scared off by this liability thing?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Are there templates online? Is there documents?
There
legal
are.
documents?
Absolutely. If you go to spaces.makerspace. I believe it's .org or .com, you can actually download a Makerspace playbook. And this is what we use. That's not the only thing we use, but we use this to kind of get an idea. If you really have no idea where to start and you don't know anybody that can help you, download the playbook. It's really worth it. They just ask you to sign up with your name and email, and they'll send you a copy. And it got all kinds of instructions in there, from how do I get started, what are the best practices, what are the legal requirements, starting a nonprofit, if you're going to go that route.
So you don't have to be a nonprofit.
You don't have to be a nonprofit.
So
if you look at Tech Shop, for example,
they make money.
They make money. They're a for-profit organization. Fab Labs are typically for-profit. So you don't have to be nonprofit. We wanted to go nonprofit because we felt a need. This was a service to the community, right? It's something that we're opening up, and we want people to be able to donate. And encourage them to donate to get the tax deduction. So in the U.S. you can do that. So we've had a lot of stuff donated. We've got a pile of stuff. I don't know if Anthony got it. Hopefully he didn't, because it's a mess. But we've just got a pile of stuff sitting around that needs to be sorted from people donating computers. We got.
But this is a geek dream.
Oh, it is. All those cabinets are filled with things that we've taken apart, and now our makers can reuse them. So we've got gears, we've got motors, we've got all kinds of stuff. We also stock some things like Arduinos and Raspberry Pis, and we basically sell those, or we offer those to our members for an additional donation, I should say.
One of the keys, I think, to making this successful, as a lot of things like this, is getting an engaged community of users. People coming every day, people committed to it, to helping out. How do you do that?
You can reach out. There's a lot of good ways to reach out. Go to town council meetings, for example, and just say you're interested in doing it. A lot of times that'll get picked up by the local newspaper.
Right.
We did that on a number of occasions, and it really helped.
Do you need city government buy-in?
You don't necessarily, but it helps. We've had a lot of help from our local government in trying to find a place. They were able to get us some recommendations or some local listings that we wouldn't have had access to otherwise, of buildings for rent, for example. We actually got our very first funding from one of the city commissions who had some money, and they wanted to do some specific things around sustainability. And we stepped up to the plate and wrote a grant for them and said, we'll do these things.
Then they really see what an asset is.
They see what the result is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who's on the hook for the rent? I mean, is there you have some sort of legal entity?
Absolutely. So one of the first things you want to do is start your own corporation. Okay. So in California, we're incorporated under the state of California. And then that's also the first step in applying for a nonprofit status.
Right.
So you have to do that if you want to do the nonprofit route anyway.
So somebody's going to put some money and energy in up front.
Yep,
Was that right. You?
Yeah, it was me, the town. There was a group of about 5 of us that said, look, this is a perfect community. We have a great arts community in Benicia. We have an industrial park. The neighbor, everyone's interested in learning and everything like that. So we said, we really need a makerspace. This is the perfect
t-shirt.
town.
Good choice.
Look at that.
I think that's so important that you didn't go it on your own.
No.
You got a group of people who could help you.
Absolutely.
And you kind of bootstrap this up by adding interests. It snowballs a little bit.
It does. And the biggest thing is you can't just sit back and say, well, we'll just wait for people to get interested in it, right?
You have to actively
go out and just do something. We sat back for probably 6 to 8 months meeting and saying, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to get funding? How are we going to do this? And then finally we said, look, let's go to the community center and just do a workshop. And we did several workshops on electronics. We did workshops on gardening, on how to do hydroponics and things. And so we did all those things. And then that built interest in our group as well. And so before we knew it, we had 50 or 60 people on Meetup that were really interested in helping us get started. And now we've got over, I think we're almost up to 500 people on Meetup. These aren't members necessarily, but they're just people that want to come to our public events and things like that.
Some of this gear is so expensive. It makes sense that there are going to be people who would want to use this, who would want to, I'm not going to buy a lathe, but I might want one occasionally. A CNC milling machine, same thing.
That's right.
So it's a question of getting word out, having people discover it. I think they'll start using it as soon as they know it's there.
Absolutely. And we survey our users and our members especially to see what they're interested in getting. What are we missing that we want?
Stuff?
So there's lots of ways. If you check, obviously Craigslist and places like that, those are the obvious ones. But if you also check, this is where your local government, again, can come into play. If you have an economic development board that knows that there's a company going out of business, you may be able to purchase their equipment that they would otherwise just send to a surplus equipment vendor. And that's what we did. We found a local company, or semi-local, that was basically getting rid of all this equipment, the welders, the hydraulic press, some of the other stuff. And we said, if we pay you the same amount of money that you were going to give this to the surplus vendor for, will you let us have it? And they said, yeah, but you got to come pick it up. So we said, okay. Wow. They could have donated it, but they were in a situation where they didn't need the tax write-off.
Right.
But we basically got all of this equipment for pennies on the dollar.
This would be some sort of critical mass. You have to have a certain amount of equipment to get people interested.
You do, and you can start with those things that people are most interested in. Obviously, 3D printers.
3D printers.
Everyone wants to use 3D printers.
And these are, like a lot of these parts are 3D printed, right?
That's right, yep. Those are actually parts to our laser maze that we 3D printed.
Cool. This is the mirror.
That's the mirror. Yeah. And we needed a gimbal system, and so a couple of our members said, I bet we can design that. And so one guy designed this little tongue and groove mount here, so you can actually take that out. You can mount this part on a stable structure, and then you can take the mirror in and out, or replace it with another component. And then somebody else built this little gimbal system and a way to frame it and everything. And it was really ingenious.
What fun!
Yep. Oh, there's our laser maze sign.
What else is popular? So 3D printers. That's a great way to start. And the good news is those can be inexpensive.
They can be.
At least when you get going. What's that?
So this is part of our laser maze. I think this is what this is.
Okay, that's smoke.
Yep.
Okay.
So there we go.
Oh,
so
look at that.
Typically, we actually built an 8-foot by 16-foot enclosure, and this is an exhibit that we bring out to our local mini maker fair, but we have also done it for grad night at the local high school. So this thing is set up in a huge room, and you actually have to crawl through the lasers without tripping them.
Like Tom Cruise.
Like Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's timed. So the clock starts counting as soon as it says go, and if you break a laser, you lose a certain amount of time, or adds a certain amount of time to your overall
this would be great for a senior class party.
That's exactly what we used it for.
Yeah.
The seniors loved it. They were challenging their friends and going together, of course. That was really popular.
And this is, but it serves the community, but also raises awareness. Then there's some parents that are going to know, oh, this exists.
Yep.
I think this is the kind of thing you have to constantly kind of be promoting and and getting going.
And it can be a great, for anyone thinking about doing this, go to your local economic development board and tell them about the potential benefits that it brings to the city or town, because new ideas are being formed in our makerspace all the time, and these are potential new businesses. And it may take a little while of preaching about it to get them to really buy off on that idea, but you can find plenty of examples online of people that have taken something to a Kickstarter that started in a makerspace.
Right. I see you were cutting up rebar. Is that how you made this geodesic?
So I did not do this. This is one of our board members. Oh, he's right back there, actually. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Nice. Jim's here. So this is actually Jim's project, and it is a geodesic ball.
Are you a welder, Jim? Is that? No, I'm an engineer. He's an engineer, but you like making things, right?
Yes. Don't let him fool you. He's a master engineer.
And isn't this more fun to have in a space where other people are doing it than in your garage? It's kind of fun to do it with other people.
I mean, we would have never probably tackled the laser maze project without having other people to do it. I mean, I couldn't have done this by myself.
What is that you just were messing with? Is that
so that's a brake. It's called a metal brake, and it's basically a big, heavy
bender
plate. It's got all those little plates there that you can line up with your metal piece, and as you push that bar forward, it actually bends the metal, and you can do it to pretty accurate precision. So I think I did like a 90-degree bend there.
You have a milling machine. This must be fun. People must love this. It's a CNC.
Yeah, so we've got CNC. So this was just drilled out. This is just stock aluminum square bar, and so this was drilled out by one of our members, and then they CNC'd the name of the company, Ryco Steel, on top of it, and then they sold it at Benicia Mini Maker Fair.
Wow.
And donated the profits to the Makerspace. So it was really nice of them.
What's the website?
Website is BeniciaMakerspace.org. But like I said before, if you want to learn about how to do it yourself, go to spaces.makerspaces.org and download that playbook. It's critically important.
How old is the Benicia Makerspace?
So we've actually been working on this for about 3 years now, but our space, physical space, really only opened about a year ago. We just had our 1 year anniversary.
I mean, this is an amazing space. And how many members do you have?
So right now we're up to a little over 50 members. We're looking to grow that to about 100.
So the outreach continues to be a big
Absolutely.
part of this.
And as people discover it, then they go back and tell their friends, hey, this is great. I took this welding class. It was awesome.
Did you see that? Made in the German Democratic Republic. Holy cow. That was from East Germany.
This is an older CNC machine.
Yeah,
it's not
no
one
kidding.
of the newer ones, but it's
that's awesome.
It's very reliable.
Ozzy made it. Oh,
surprise,
yeah.
Surprise.
Germans make great stuff.
Yeah. And see, even the CNC machine, somebody donated the spindle for it. So we were able to put that on there. A lot of the stuff, like that drill press right there, we found basically in the back of a shop. It was sitting outside. It was all rusted. And one of our board members said, hey, I'll go work on this. I'll clean it up and paint it. And now it's beautiful. And it works great.
What a great hobby.
So, again, you can find this type of equipment if you just look around a little bit and start asking questions in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Very cool. BeniciaMakerspace.org?
.org.
Aaron Newcomb, we talk about this all the time. You always bring projects by. I'm really glad we could talk a little bit about how to do it. I would love to see people doing this. Every community. You should do it in Fort Thomas,
Fort
Kentucky?
Thomas, absolutely. They have one in Cincinnati,
You should
actually.
get going. There's all across the river you can do it. That's really, really cool stuff. Very, very neat. All right, I think we are going to take a walk over to the living room and get our last few questions.
Let's do it.
I can't believe it. We got to wrap this thing up.
I know, it goes by quick.
Let's go. I wish I had a Segway. It's such a long walk.
We do have one right over there.
If you see any Pokemon on the way, let me know, all right? We're going to get around Alex Gump. We'll go ahead after you. And by the way, thank you to Anthony Nielsen, who shot all that B-roll at the Benicia Makerspace. It's nice to be able to see that in action.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time getting those really beautiful shots, so it was nice of him to come over, drive over, fight the traffic.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yes, definitely.
Email time. Fire away. Wire when ready. Gumple.
Bonk.
Bonk. There's nothing in the email box. Usually there's a food stuff, there's a fireworks or some sort of Christmas tree or something. Here you go. You can take that one. I think that's for you. And I'll take this one. Go ahead.
All right. So it says, I see all these things on the internet people are making with 3D printers and would like would like to make some of the things I see, but I don't have the need to invest in a 3D printer just yet. Is there a service where you can upload the files and they'll print it or sell it to you? Love the show, Rob.
So I know there's Thingiverse where you can get designs, right? But that's for somebody to download and do on their 3D printer.
Their own thing.
Will they make stuff if you send them a design?
I believe they will, actually, but there are some better services out there, some services that have been doing this a long time. One of them is shapeways.com.
Oh, of course, Shapeways, yeah.
So you can send them your file, they'll print it out, package it up, and send it to you, I think within a couple of days. They're really actually quite fast. If you're looking for something more local, you could try something like 3dhubs.com. They're kind of an index of 3D printing services. So you can go out and find something that's close to you if you have a big project, for example.
Could you go to a makerspace and do it?
Absolutely. We have open 3D printer user group nights where people can actually bring in projects to print or just to come to talk about 3D printers in general.
I think before you buy a 3D printer, you should absolutely go to a makerspace. Talk to the experts. They're finicky.
That's right.
There's a lot of lore you need to know. You shouldn't just go out and buy one and do it.
That's right. We've got a lot of schools coming to us now, actually, coming to the makerspace, which is a smart idea because they want to start makerspaces in their schools.
What a great
and one of the things we have to say is, look, let's go over and take a look at these 3D printers because I know they sound cool, but you're going to have someone on staff, or at least half-time to full-time, to be able to manage these things. And they don't think about that, and that impacts their budget.
It happens so often that schools people donate technology, but they don't donate any expertise, or a school gets all excited and buys something, and then everybody looks at it and goes, I don't know what to do with this. And it ends up gathering dust in the back of somebody's classroom.
Exactly.
It's a shame. There are resources there.
There are resources. One more place I want to mention is the UPS store, actually.
What?
So for
they
places,
have 3D printing?
They're starting to have 3D printers now. So if you go to the UPS store, most people have a UPS store in their community.
Right.
So even if you don't have a makerspace, you don't want to send away and get something shipped to you, you can try to see if your local UPS store has 3D printing solution that you can go
That's hysterical.
have them do for you.
That's hysterical.
It's great that these things are becoming more popular because it really does cut down. What we find in the makerspace is that this really does cut down on the time it takes to innovate. So you design a product, go have it printed or print it in your local makerspace, and then you can take it over and see if that fits into whatever you're doing. And then once you're sure that it fits, then you can send it out and have it, injection molded or something on a big scale. But you don't have to take the chance of saying, I'm going to go get 10,000 of these and I don't know if it's going to work.
Very famous story. Jack Dorsey, one of the founders of Twitter, he had this idea for a reader that you could put in a phone, swipe a credit card, became square. He made the first prototypes himself at a makerspace.
At a makerspace, yep.
And that's how he created this multi-million-dollar company, billion-dollar company, in a makerspace. I think that's really great. Here's something from Jennifer. I'm hoping to set up a mini outdoor theater, perfect timing, right?
Yeah.
In our yard, mainly for my daughter and her friends to watch movies in the pool. Now, what fun is that, right? I'm on a budget. I want something easy to connect and operate that's of decent quality. Any thoughts, projectors, connectivity, screens, mounting? I hate to do it, but we have a sponsor, Epson, that makes, they actually don't advertise their cinema projectors. I can't remember what the Cinemate, I think they call them. But they're great, and you have under $1,000. What you're gonna look for is something with HDMI so that you can, there you go, that's the Megaplex. That's actually kind of a fancy one, but you see PC Magazine's Editor's Choice. You can actually go back to the Megaplex, because this has a feature that I love. I think they're the only one that does this. You can dock a your smartphone on it and play the movie back from the smartphone.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. That solves the connectivity issue. Of course, if you have a DVD player with HDMI out, all of these have HDMI in.
Right. So you could hook up a Chromecast then.
Totally hook up a Chromecast. That'd be another way to do it. Look at that. You dock the phone in there and you could play back the movies. What you do, that's discontinued, unfortunately. But what you do want to do is check how bright you're going to need it. If you're doing it at night, it doesn't have to be as bright as it would be if you were doing it in your house. But it will be better if you have a screen. And you can buy screens inexpensively. I actually got mine at Monoprice. And as you know, Monoprice is the budget place to get stuff. They even sell screens. A screen is better than just a sheet because it reflects back. That means you don't have to have such a bright projector, and you'll get a much crisper, brighter image than you would if you were just putting up a sheet, although a lot of people do that. You can even, if you go to your local Jumpy Jump guy, they even rent often inflatable movie screens. Now you wouldn't want to own one of those, but it'd be a great thing for a one-off and a really great party. Yeah, see, there you go. You can inflate those. That's on Pinterest. But I would start with the Epson projectors. They're great projectors. They're not expensive. They do a wonderful job. And you'll find they're very useful to have just in general. I mean, you can even do it inside and show it. I wouldn't mount it. I would just bring it out, put it on a table, and bring it back in again.
That's what we do at the Makerspace, actually.
Do you?
We have a projector. We do exactly that. It's like, oh, we want to have a class in this room? Okay, there's a white wall.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It's fine. It's perfect. That's all you need. Well, all we need to do a great show is Aaron Newcomb, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. I'm so glad you came up. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Really glad
Always
we could show off the Makerspace a little bit and help people do their own thing. I encourage everybody to do that. Such a great thing to do. And we will see you from time to time on All About Android, This Week in Google, Floss
Weekly, of course.
And we thank your employer NetApp for letting you skip out once in a while.
They do. They're really good about that, actually. I don't think they mind a name drop now and then either.
They make storage, enterprise-grade storage.
Yeah, we've been doing NAS. That's our bread and butter. We've been doing NAS systems for 25 years.
Yeah. Running, in many cases, free BSD.
Yep.
Yeah. It's great. It's always great to have you.
Yeah,
You're a true geek, and that's what I like about you. Hey, we thank you for being here too. Don't forget, if you have not yet subscribed to the newsletter, it's a great way. We've got a brand new week coming to find out what's coming up on the week ahead. Just go to twit.tv/newsletter. It's free. It is double opt-in, so you can't sign up people against their will. I got about 20 emails for golf equipment, and I went to unsubscribe, and I wrote them a note saying, A, I don't golf, so I didn't sign up for this, and B, you really should have an opt-in system,
right?
Because you shouldn't. Either you're sending this to me without my asking, or more likely somebody signed me up as. And that's not, that's ridiculous. You're wasting your energy. So we have a double opt-in system. You sign up, it'll send you an email, you click the link and say, yes, I do want this.
Nice.
And then we'll send you the email. It's free. We do the show every Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 UTC. We'd love it if you stop by. In fact, we love it if you're in the audience. You can email tickets at twit.tv. If you're not going to come up on a Saturday afternoon, hey, everybody! Traffic's pretty bad. Leave early because it's going to take you a while to come up from San Francisco.
Especially during race season.
Yeah, because there's Infineon's right down the road. But here's my tip. Go to the wine country instead. Have a nice weekend in the wine country. Mom and Dad will have a good time. Then come down on a Saturday afternoon. It's a lot easier coming from the north than it is coming from the south. But we would love to have you in the studio. Tickets at twit.tv. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the new Screensavers. Bye-bye, everybody.